Hi everybody, this is just a quick introductory video to Monday.com, our project management system. When you receive your email that we have invited you, then you accept the invitation and you can create your username and password. And this will give you access to our client boards, which I'll go through now with you, in which we will give you all the information we can. It's all in one place and everybody's on the same page. So once you've logged in, then you'll arrive at your inbox in Monday.com. If anything has happened on your boards from our side, that'll all come up in your inbox and you'll see it all. Obviously, we'll get to this a little bit later, but as you can see, there are 2 updates from us to you. At some point, if you could complete your profile either here or if you click the down arrow, my profile, just add all of your information for us so that we can keep all of our client boards as up to date as possible. That would be greatly appreciated. If you ever have any notifications specifically for you, you click on the bell here and you can see when you were mentioned and what board and pulse those mentions are on. Next, if you go on the left here, you'll find shareable boards. Obviously, the only board you will have is yours. So this will be your name here, and this will be your contact information, delivery address, everything else that we need. If there's anything that's missing from here, when you open Monday, then you can let us know. We can add anything. Going across here, I'll get to the views a bit later. The unsubscribe button is for when you have finished your project. If you unsubscribe, you will no longer see this board and you will no longer get any notifications. If you unsubscribe by mistake, don't panic. We can always resubscribe you. If you click down here, you can see everybody subscribed to this board. Everybody who can see anything on this board. You and your team will be under guests, and then our team will be under team subscribers. Because this is an example, I am the only one on our team, and I am the only one as a client. But we can add as many guests as you like. So you just give us the email addresses of everybody involved, and we can add them, and we can send them this video. If you click on this pulse icon, then you'll see that there's a whole log of anything that's happened. So if I change a status, if I change anything, you'll be able to see it. And any updates you can view just here. If you have multiple boards and multiple pulses, this tends to make it a bit easier. Down here, you can search for any keywords or anything. This is obviously, again, if you have multiple projects on the go. It just makes everything easier. You can also filter the boards by group, person, submission, status, or timeline, which we will now go through. Okay, if you click on this little line at the side here, you can minimize everything. These are groups of pulses. So we normally use this as the description of whatever your project is. As you can see, building plan, site development plan, internal layouts, heritage, certificate of occupancy, anything that we are doing, we always name the group of pulses after that particular project, even if your project is going to fall under several of these categories, so that we can keep each individual step in the process up to date and separate from the others so that there is no confusion. So when you open this group of pulses, these are what we call pulses. They will have your name, the ERF number, we go by ERF number instead of street address, and then we do BP just to keep track of which pulse this is for our own sake. If you click on the down arrow to the side here, you can rename it, you can move it, but please don't delete it. When you mouse over the name of the group of pulses, you'll see these arrows. You can sort alphabetically when you save the view, if that works for you. And if you have multiple projects and one of them is more important, you can always bring that one to the top. This will only change the view for you, not for everybody else, so you can go up. Moving across here, you'll see a person. This is the person responsible for whatever part of the submission process we are going through now. So as you can see here, the person assigned is me as the client, meaning that the client is the person that we need something from. You'll get a notification via email, but also in your inbox, and the bell will be rung if you are assigned to a pulse. And then to find out about that, go across to submission and status, and those will give you just a quick look into what exactly is going on. And then if you go over here to the conversation, there will be full details. If we need stuff from you, it will all be here. What we will normally do, if we need, for example, documents from you, we will assign you to the pulse, and then we will make a comment in this updates info of the conversation. This, you can mention people. You just put an @ and then it'll bring down a list like so. Say mention, and you can find a list of everybody on the board, and you can mention them, and they will get a specific notification. So we would tell you these are the documents we need. They are, and we would put them in a checklist like so. Then if we are needing the originals, then you can reply to this, as you see I have already done, and say that they are ready for collection. That's the reply button there on the right. And then once we collect them, we can go through the pulse and we can check everything off on the list so that everybody knows what is happening. You can also see there is a timestamp, so we know exactly when all of this was taking place. We do try to keep everything on the pulse, so if for any reason you are emailing instead of writing directly onto the pulse, then we prefer, when possible, that you copy the pulse in so that the email comes up like so. And the way you do that is when you go to write an update, write updates via email. Then you see this little icon on the right, you copy that. And then when you write your email, CC the pulse in along with everybody else. And then once you've written your email and you send it, then it'll come up on the pulse just like this. Moving across here, you see there's multiple tabs. The next tab across is info boxes. This is particularly handy to us if we need to give you documents or you need to give us documents, but we can do it electronically. So the most important one for us is in the middle here, the files. When you add files, then it'll bring up a box like this. We can rename it to whatever it needs to be. So if it is personal documents, whatever it is, you can just change that name. Then you just go to add file, or you can click and drag whatever you need to add. This will then become available to everybody on the pulse, and then anybody has access to that. We tend to try and name them so that they are related directly to the pulse. Obviously, we have more than just the one client board. So if you can just put your name or F number there, whenever you add any documents, it just makes it a little bit easier for us. Then we know exactly whose is what. Notes we don't tend to use, but you can add notes if required. You can add whatever that is, you can write it in there. And then the Q&A can be useful because you can add a question that we can answer, and then instead of having to go through all the conversations on the updates, it'll be right there for everybody to see. Next is the activity log. It's the same as that pulse icon on the main page. It's just going to tell you all the activity that's happened on this particular pulse. And you see here is a list of everybody who is subscribed to this pulse. So there will obviously be more people, but you'll be able to view that as well. And this will allow you to view all of the subscribers. Now you'll see that it's changed a little bit. So we obviously, in this situation, we got whatever documents we needed from the client, whether they were put on the info boxes for us to print or where we collected them. Just the notes there. Okay. So now it has changed. Obviously, you see it's now my face on here. I'm working on the submission, and additional payments are required. That means that we've invoiced you. We are waiting for a proof of payment before we can continue with the submission. These timelines are normally just an estimate from us. Obviously, there are a lot of things out of our control. So we try to give a fair amount of time on a timeline, but they are always going to be just estimates. Just to show you why we have all these separate groups of pulses, even if it's all for the same property. there are obviously multiple steps. So if this property that we're now working on a building plan for originally had an SDP submission, that is an entirely different submission. So once that is approved and done, everything looks nice and green. So everything would be happy, except now the building plan, we're working on it, we need additional payments. That's not happy. So this is why we keep them all separate. So we can say, we have done this on this particular project, but now we're doing this. So this is just to clarify why we keep everything as separate as we do. It's so that there is never any doubt as to what part of the submission we are in and how far along we are with that particular part.